The last entry we have is a non-competing entry. So judges and audience, you cannot vote for this entry, but we want to cover it. It's called Follow-Up Insights, and I will turn it over to Craig, who will present this project concept.
Thank you, Ron. So just shared my screen, and this kind of came together a little bit last minute. So I think that's why we're in the non-competing class here, but put together a quick slide deck just to run through it, and then I'll demo it quickly as well. But this really came out of a real world use case from Dave's life. So team Dave deBronkart and myself, Craig Calderone of Within Health. He had a friend that had a recommended follow-up for a lung nodule in 6 to 12 months. And was looking for a system to read that report, automatically detect the recommended follow-up, and then subsequently notify the patient. So his use case came out of a 2020 exam. And then, basically what happens after the fact is the doctor forgets she went 2 years without a follow-up. Can't the computer help with this? And then he wanted to create a bot to scan the report and actually look for a follow-up. So a number of other reasons why this actually happens. Problem is efficiency pressure from radiologists, don't have time to actually structure the recommendation in a meaningful way. In order to manually review it, by care coordinators, it's heavily time consuming. The outreach is also heavily manual, whether it requires stuffing letters or making phone calls to the referring doctors. And then ultimately, I think it does come down to somewhat of a responsibility issue. Is it the radiologist's responsibility to follow up with it? Is the referring, or is it the patient themselves? So what we put together was a quick demonstration of an NLP that we branched off of Within Health through a Streamlit app. Basically structure the recommendation through a classification model, a number of entity extractions for time frame, modality, and anatomy, and then classify them as negated or conditional as well. So with that, basically input takes a sample text of an impression of a report. You can see that there's a number of other things that are mentioned inside the bot, inside that report, but ultimately the recommended sentence that we're looking for here is this one right here. What we do after the fact there is then structured that to have a classification as a follow-up identified. What is the actual start of the follow-up window, the end of the follow-up window, if there is one? What type of time frame was mentioned? Is it incomplete or complete? And then what type of modality, anatomy was mentioned in terms of the follow-up? Was it negated or was it conditional as well? So if I change this from a 6 to 12 months, you can then see that it does update into 182 days as well as 365 days as well. So a bit more of a time structure for them to structure the actual notification that you can send to a patient or any other stakeholder downstream as well. That is basically it for the demo. For us, quick and dirty basically, but number of entities that we could extract them down below, use a number of different types of models that you wanted to. If you wanted to change it to the scientific corpus as well, you could do that, and then it would pick up a number of other different types of entities down below. So that is us, and I'll open it up for questions, and hopefully that was quick enough, Mohammed.
That is awesome. Thank you, Craig.
Sure.
Any quick questions from the judges?
Well, I guess a bit of a comment. You've definitely locked on to a very, an application of high interest. We took a swing at it in IHE under the name FUNC, follow-up of non-critical findings. But there are a number of moving parts that got tricky, and if you guys have some energy to reinvigorate and tackle some of those, there's definitely other people out there who'd love to work with you, I think.
Great. Yeah, certainly would love to hear it. I didn't know there was a previous team that did it, but it's good to hear that other people working on it.
Oh, Brad, I think you might be on mute.
No, a phone was ringing in the background, so I said mute. Any other questions from the judges? Okay. Well, thank you so much.